I love you. What does it mean? Now, I'm not referring to romantic love, as you see in something like Bloom Into You. What I mean by love, and the kind that Violet Evergarden presents, is an idea so fundamentally simple that everyone can recognize the word and endearment behind it, yet so large it is beyond our understanding. It's an expansive, ever-growing and entangling feeling that brings us together and pulls us apart. Violet Evergarden explores this avenue of love, introducing it as something foreign, unfamiliar, and even out of reach. I love you. We give and receive those words constantly in our lives, and each time the phrase takes on a different shape. You can say it when you've hurt someone and wish to show remorse, when you want to show affection for someone, when you want to tell them goodbye, when you want to support them, and for a myriad of other purposes. Violet Evergarden displays the many layers and forms of love, while also connecting them through a factor present in all of the sincerest forms of love. As is exhibited by Clara Magnolia, sincere love is pure and unconditional. From my perspective, the only one capable of truly unconditional love is God, but I still believe that the word has its own, less literal, human meaning. It, to me, means striving towards a love that is as close to unconditional as possible, even if it can't be reached. With such a powerful definition behind the word, it's quite easy to become overwhelmed when we're presented with love. So what do? The anime attempts to answer this question by illustrating how we interact with sincere love, or, in other words, what we do with it, because how we share and connect with the feeling is just as important as how we define it. Specifically, Violet Evergarden demonstrates 3 ways we interact with love. They are the love that we reject, the love that we cherish, and the love that we give to others. When faced with a love so profound that we don't understand it, or when it interferes with a lack of self-value, it is quite a common reaction to just reject it outright. Violet Evergarden is the most prevalent example of rejecting love in the anime, though her specific reason for doing so is not something many are familiar with. Violet rejects, or rather doesn't return, Gilbert's love because it's something that she doesn't understand, not because she questions his motives for loving her, but because the very concept of love itself is unfamiliar. Throughout the series, she grows to find meaning for herself by listening to the way others define and express love. This progression is represented by her ability to write a thoughtful letter to Gilbert, which she can't do at first, but then can in the final movie. Her desire to learn reflects in all of us, when we experience the entanglement of a spectrum of feelings that culminate into one word, and we don't understand it. It's only natural for us to want to know what it is. Even so, as evidenced by Violet's story, learning it takes time, but eventually those that are unfamiliar with love can come to share it and know its beauty like everyone else. Violet didn't understand love at first as a result of her past. Trained as a mere tool for war, she was never shown love from others before she met Gilbert. There are many people who are experiencing or have experienced a similar situation. They reject love because they've never received it before. Admittedly, this can make certain people difficult to tolerate, let alone love, yet that only emphasizes the need and importance for them to receive compassion, to receive kindness, and to be loved. Sometimes we understand the concept and still reject it. This rejection is often a result of not understanding another's motives for loving us. We as humans always make mistakes, and we're often our worst critics when it comes to those mistakes. It's very easy to beat yourself up over repeatedly messing up or doing something wrong. It causes us to devalue ourselves in comparison to others. When you believe you're worthless, you may see no reason for anyone else to love you. For many, such behavior is habitual and instinctual, and yet they are still loved. Major Gilbert represents this case in the final movie. When Violet Evergarden finds Gilbert, after he was presumed dead for so long, she was overjoyed and wanted nothing more than to be by his side, to love him as he loved her. To her dismay and surprise, Gilbert rejected her and acted as though he didn't want to see her. As we see later in the movie, he really did want to see Violet, but he couldn't help but believe he was not worthy of her love. He had hidden from her for so long, and thought that he was the reason that Violet had no opportunity to live a normal life. He thought she was better off without him, and she kept loving him anyway. Unconditional love does not care what you think of yourself. It persists regardless of if you're worthy. It is gracious and forgiving, not demanding anything in return. We can also reject love simply because, well, we don't want it. Dietfried rejected Gilbert's love and admiration out of pride. He truly did care for his brother. However, for the sake of his image toward his father and for his pride, he did not want his brother to look up to him. Gilbert still sacrificed a lot for Dietfried and forgave him for everything, despite how little gratitude Dietfried returned to him. Violet inadvertently showed Dietfried that there was no reason for him to hold on to that pride anymore, and so he was able to move past it. Pride shouldn't be used as a reason to push someone away, especially if that person is a family member or a friend. Dietfried disapproved of Violet visiting his mother's grave because of his pride and because he thought that Violet had no right or reason to show love for his family. Pride shouldn't be used in this way either. Those who are family to you or loved by you may also be held in the same regard with others. There are no rules that bar you from showing compassion for someone simply because they're already receiving that compassion from someone else. Eurus represented two unique groups in the Violet Evergarden movie. He claimed and acted as though he didn't want love from his family or from Lucas. He knew that he was dying, and he knew that accepting their love would only make it hurt for them more when he died. When he first described his reasoning to Violet, he stated, "I'm tired of that stuff," where stuff was referring to the affection from his family. Though it wasn't really the case for Eurus specifically, his words still represent those who find expressions of love to be uncomfortable or annoying. As I have described plenty of times in my Bloom Into You videos, I am sometimes that person. While not wanting love solely to keep your pride is unnecessary, not wanting it for the sake of soothing others' pain or to avoid something uncomfortable are very realistic and valid reasons, depending on how you value certain things. When our reasons for rejecting love are overcome, we learn to cherish it instead. Setting his pride aside, Dietfried learned to cherish Gilbert's love. He was able to express how much he had always cared for his little brother at the end of the movie in his own Dietfriedy way. Furthermore, Gilbert realized, through thoughtful consideration and through the letter Violet was finally able to write for him, that Violet's love did and always would extend far beyond any of his doubts, and that there was no reason for him to hold those doubts any longer. He understood that she loved and forgave him, regardless of his mistakes. Likewise, in the series, Violet learned to cherish Gilbert's love while being raised by him. She didn't exactly understand the concept of love, but she was still able to cherish it. The first time she met Gilbert, she was aggressive toward him and others, as that was the only way she knew how to act. Over time, she was able to turn that aggression into a desire to protect Gilbert and repay him for everything he had done for her. Through distance and time and even death, our cherished love persists. It's always there, something for us to hold on to when we need it most. After Gilbert's presumed death, Violet still kept hold of his compassion, care, and love, all within a small brooch, sharing the color of Gilbert's eyes. Every single time Violet sought Gilbert's guidance or the comforting memories they shared, she reached for the brooch. Eternity and the Auto Memory Doll introduces two characters and focuses on how they cherish each other's love. Taylor and Isabella held each other and their love for each other so dear because, for a time, it was all they had. They had little money and few belongings, one of those belongings being a teddy bear that Isabella made for Taylor. Taylor valued that bear as much as Violet did her brooch. The only other thing Taylor and Isabella had was each other. And yet, once they were torn apart, once they were separated by miles of sea, vast lands, and years of time, their love for each other persisted. Taylor became a mail delivery woman so that she could deliver a letter to Isabella, even after being far away from her for so long. Isabella still held on to her memories of Taylor and became a part of the York family to provide Taylor with a better life. Both of their actions were primarily motivated by the care and love they each gave and cherished. Love isn't something we only take or reject. We share it with others too. This includes family, friends, and even strangers, although it takes a different form in each scenario. With family, the love we give is forgiving and persistent. You're born with your family, and you can't change them. So our love for them should be far more flexible, persistent, and understanding than with others. Once again, to Gilbert and Dietfried. Gilbert loved Dietfried despite everything, and Dietfried was eventually able to both love Gilbert and accept his persistence. He was able to change because he knew it was the right thing to do for his brother. We see the persistence of familial love in episode 10 of the series with Ann's mother. She did everything she could to be there with her daughter, both before and after she died. The reason she wrote those letters was so all the love and care she gave her daughter could persist after her passing. Her specific actions exhibited a parent's love for their child, which is a theme I discussed in my Makia and Clenad videos. The strength of love given to family is able to be matched only by the strength we give to friends. Sometimes it can be even stronger. The bond of a friendship is different because friends are chosen. At first, it might mean that the love is less forgiving, but as time moves forward and a friendship strengthens, it can become the closest possible thing to unconditional love. In the second movie, there's a lot more emotional emphasis placed on Eurus's message to Lucas than there is on his messages to his family. It is done in this way to present their bond as one that is equal to or stronger than those with his family. With strangers, the love we share is more akin to kindness or compassion. While it might be weaker than for family and friends, it certainly is not unnecessary or unimportant. Violet Evergarden went above and beyond for all of her clients. She always tried to understand their feelings and empathize with them before she wrote letters for them. It was a part of her job description and served to teach her about the meaning of love, but it was also exactly what many of her clients needed. There will always be people out there who are in need of nothing more than some compassion. Even if it's something small, showing someone that you care can go a long way. We've all had those times when we wished someone would reach out, no matter who it was, and we've all been disappointed when no one did. Don't let that happen to others. With the new year beginning soon, now is a better time than any to start sharing the love that you cherish with others. And if you're in need, never hesitate to reach out. Violet Evergarden is truly beautiful, both visually and in its themes. Love is something we are all likely quite familiar with. However, Violet Evergarden was able to teach me so much about what I thought I was an expert in. If you've been rejecting love, try accepting it and cherishing it for a change. If you've been reluctant on sharing love with others, go for it. With each little step that we make, we become ever closer to reaching that unreachable goal. To love one another, regardless of where we are from, who we are, and what we've done. That is unconditional love. That is true, sincere love. Violet Evergarden has reignited my passion to pursue that goal, and I hope it has incited a similar feeling in you. The world can always use some more love and care, so we shouldn't ever stop trying. Maybe, just maybe, one day, we could finally say, sincerely, unconditionally, I love you. This has been CiderThoughts. If you enjoyed this video and haven't already, please consider subscribing. Thank you so very much for watching. I love you all. And until next time.